All right, everyone, might as well get started. This workshop will be recorded and will be sent to you at a later date. My name is Kevin Gunn. I'm coordinator of digital scholarship at Catholic University of America Libraries. And today we're going to do a basic general overview of OpenRefine and how to use it for cleaning data. So I have a quick short presentation, then we'll get into playing with some data. So, what do we want to talk about today? What is clean data and why do we clean it? We want to look at some common problems and solutions for cleaning the data. And then we're going to look for a very quick, short introduction to the general refine expression language that OpenRefine uses. So what is data cleaning? So you're always going to have to do some data cleaning as you work with any data set. So it's the process of fixing or removing incorrect data, corrupt data, incorrectly formatted data, duplicate data, incomplete data, anything that's within a particular data set. So you're going to have to, have a basic understanding of what it is that you need to clean. All right. So what are the reasons for cleaning data? Well, you want to do there's a lot of benefits from this. I mean, you want to improve your accuracy. So, removing errors and inconsistencies enhances the reliability of the analysis results. You want to enhance your data quality. So cleaning data ensures that you have high quality, usable data sets for analysis. You have the issue of reducing noise. You want to eliminate irrelevant or extraneous data that focus on the analysis for meaningful information. You want to do increases the efficiency. You have clean data reduces processing time and computational resources needed for analysis. Next, you have facilitating decision making. So it's accurate and clean data allows folks to do better informed business or research decisions. You also have improves data integration. So if you're standardizing data formats, it simplifies the integration of different data sources. So that's always something. Consistency is a wonderful thing. Next is supports compliance. So you ensure adherence to data governance and regulatory standards that many government agencies require. You can enhance data interpretation. So you can have clean data is easier to interpret, leading to clear insights and conclusions. You have boosts confidence in results. So stakeholders can trust the analysis outcomes when based on clean data. And last, it prevents misleading conclusions. So cleaning data minimizes the risks of drawing incorrect conclusions from flawed or biased data. So these are some of the good reasons that you want to use for cleaning data. So going about data tidying, what is it that you want to do? I highly recommend this particular article by Hadley Wickham. It's a great article. It gives you a wonderful overview of data, how to tidy data and what you should be looking for. So you want to tidy data because you want to structure data sets to facilitate analysis. So you have a collection of values and every value belongs to a variable and an observation. So what you have is for tidy data, you're going to have each variable forms a column, each observation forms a row, and then each type of observational unit forms a table. So that's what you're going to go striving for. So you notice this OpenRefine survey that was done in 2022. It shows some of the types of tasks that people are using OpenRefine for. So you can tell the biggest one most often used is the cleaning and normalizing data, fixing spelling mistakes and that sort of thing. Real basic stuff. Next, you have preparing data to load or import into another system. So whether that's a database, cloud application, that sort of thing. Next, you have data transformation. If it's in one type of format, you have to convert it to another format. That's OpenRefine can do that. And then, next, the fourth biggest one here is the reconciliation against other data sets moving forward. So it's a question of cleaning up and making sure everything is consistent. So what is OpenRefine? It's a powerful tool for working with messy data, cleaning it, transforming it from one format into another, and extending it with web services and external data. So this is a very robust software package. It's open access and it's wonderful. We're not going to cover it all today. You have to spend time with it and develop your skills, and that's going to be dependent on what tasks that you want to do. So it's definitely something you want you want to put into your toolkit if you're working with data. Excuse me. OpenRefines is very interesting. It has the characteristics of a spreadsheet, but it's not a spreadsheet. It works more like a relational database. And we'll get into that and I'll show you what we mean by that. All right, so I sent out some slides and stuff like that, the data sets and that. What I should do is put that into our thing here. Let's see, do that. All right, clean that up a bit. All right, so we have this. Control C. And let's see. I'm going to put this link in the chat. So if you don't have these files, there you go. We're going to be using 3 different data sets. I like to use a little variety, and it's great to see different types of data and how you can work with them. I do have the workshop tutorial listed here, both in Docs and in a Word document and that. So feel free to pull that up on your screen. I'm basically going to walk through the handout and just show you some basic things that you can do with it. And if you want to follow along, you can. If you don't want to, that's okay. Take the files. Once the recording's sent to you, you'll be able to work your way through it and stop the video at whatever point and go from there. So, all right, let's get into this. So you do go to OpenRefine .org / download, and that will pull it up there for you. In fact, let me do that. Download, there we go. So that's where you should be able to get it. There's a lot of information on the website regarding everything. I'll go there very briefly as we work through the handout. All right, so let's get a busy. I am going to close that down. So at the bottom of my screen, I think you can see this. You'll notice there's a little diamond here. So once you've downloaded it and installed it, and you should have this little diamond shape here that you can click on. So I'm going to click on that. It's going to load up this black box. What's loading is Java. And if it works well, you want to keep that black box open first of all. If you close it accidentally, your stuff isn't going to work and you're going to have to redo everything. So keep that black box open. If it works, this is the screen that you should be looking at right now. So that is that. All right, so let us get started here. You'll notice on this front page here, let me move that there. Okay, so you have here, and it tells you right now, importing your data, what you want to do with that. So you want to do, you want to, first of all, think of what the data files that you're going to import. What type are they? So are they tab separated values, comma separated values, Excel? You can load an Excel sheet in there, JSON, all these sorts of things. And all this is going to depend on your knowledge of these particular formats, but also what it is that you want to do. So today we're going to keep it simple. I'm just going to use comma separated values. And what we'll do is, first thing we're going to do is we're going to load one of these up here. And we're going to do, let's see if I got this right. Oh, there we are. All right, we got, let's see, go right there. Powerhouse. Let's see, we're going to do the authors people here. So I'm going to load that up there. You'll notice a CSV. So once that's there, you can do next. Oh, I should mention here, just before I do that, I'm loading a file from my computer, but you also have other options here. So you can go to a government website, for example, that has open data, and you can put in that URL and download it. You can do clipboard, you can do a database here. So if you're familiar with these sorts of things, you can definitely work with them. I'm not going to do that today, but you can do that. And you can also do Google data. So if you were to sign in, if I were to sign in, I would have all my sheets, Google Sheets on display for the screen. I'm not going to do that because, confidentiality and all that. But you can definitely load a lot of material that way too. But you do have to sign in and share your data with share your data with Google. So just something that you keep in mind. All right, so you have these particular ways that you can load it. I'm just going to keep it simple, load it from this computer. I've uploaded authors people CSV, and now I'm going to click on next. And voila. And here we have our data, and they give you a nice sheet that you can look at, a screen that you can look at. You can take a first look at your data, especially if you're getting it from somewhere else you're not familiar with it. You can look at it. You'll notice down here under parse data as, they give you all these wonderful options. Let me just scroll here. So if you want to look to the left-hand side, you have comma separated and TSV and that. You have all these different variations here. If you want to work, if you're working with JSON files, mark files, if you're a cataloger, if you're doing JSON, if you're doing a resource description format, semantic data stuff, you've got all these options that you can use. Also they do a lot of Wikitext and Wikidata stuff here, XML files, and you also have Excel files if you want to load up that way as well. So another thing you have a lot of different formats that you can do. You also notice a character encoding. I'm just going to click on Windows 1252. And here are all the different types of encodings that you can upload here and that. So it may be worthwhile if you really want to get to know your data, understand what it is that the encoding format is. Quite often, if you're doing basic transformations, whatever, you don't need to worry about it, but it's something that you should keep in mind when you're looking at your files that you get from other places. How is it those what encodings did the original authors use in doing that? You'll notice also here I'm going to click on all encoding, and you'll notice there's a long list of different ways, all the different types of coding. So I just wanted to point that out to you. All right, so that's the bottom part here. There's lots of different things here that you can click on. We're just going to leave things as commas, use the character that, and just leave everything as is. But I encourage you to go in and play with these and see what sort of results that you do get. If you'll notice up here, we're taking a first look at our data. You'll notice right away that we do need to spend some time cleaning this data set. So for example, under author persons, we have this number. So what does that mean? It's, I guess, straight out error if you want. What you'll need to do as look up this ISBNs and in Amazon or a catalog or whatever, and get the proper who's the author of that and put it in there. So there's one quick way that you're going to have to examine your data and change it as you move forward. You'll notice here we have Aaron, comma, Jason. So Jason Aaron is the name. Now, first question I want to ask is, do we need to have a first name column and a last name column? Do we need to split this out? That's a decision that you have to make. If you scroll down a little ways, you'll notice under number 8 here, you'll notice it has a period after it. So, empty spaces to any sort of mark in there is going to distinguish it from another record. So you need to be very cognizant of what is available in each of these columns. So if I scroll down a little bit here, I notice this here. So, okay. So that's one example. If we look under titles here, we see things like Friday the 13th. Do we want again, the period, that sort of thing. It looks like it's a duplicate record. Listen here, they have the same ISBNs and all that, but they do have different publishers. So maybe it's a London publisher and a American publisher, US publisher. So things that you may have to decide, do I feel the need to separate them, or can I combine them, that sort of thing. You'll notice here too, we have empty spaces. What are you going to do with empty spaces? Just going to leave them? We can put N/A. You have to make these sorts of decisions. If you look at London here, look what we have. We have London with a question mark. We have brackets around it. A little bit later, we got just London by itself. And then we have London further down without the question mark. So you have to get some consistency, some conformity in here. And there's some quick ways I'll show you how to do that. If you go to date of publication, again, you have C 2009 period. Now you have brackets under 2012. Now you have a quote unquote normal number. Now you have back to copyright 2007. So you see that this suggests that when you go in to change it, you'll have to first get rid of all the C's. So that'll be a first step. Then you'll have to go through and get rid of all the brackets as a second step. Then you'll have to go through a third time and get rid of the periods, assuming that you don't want the periods. So these are sorts of things that just looking at this data set that you have to do a lot of cleanup. You'll notice ISBNs, right? Well, you have two ISBNs. You have two values in one column. That's a problem. So you got to clean that out. So these are lots of common problems that you have with the data set. So looking at all that, I say, wow, this is great. I think we'll go ahead and work on it. So you can click on project name, authors, people.csv. And if you want to put any tags in there, you can. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create this project. And what it does, it loads it up, and there you go. And the first thing you'll notice in here, something's changed, something's happened. So you can do particular rows or records. We're looking at 10 records at a time. So we can do 10. We can do 25. So I'm going to click on 25 here. If you could mute your microphones, please, that would be great. Thank you. If you haven't done so already, thank you. All right, so here we have our set, and we have first 25 records that we've seen before, and it looks basically what we saw before, but we can now do something. You notice these little blue arrows, these blue triangles. We can now work on these particular columns, and that's what we're going to do right now. If you go to our handout, we're going to look at 4 different paths that we can do. Facet searching, we can filter our data. We'll be able to cluster it, bring it together, different aspects of the data. Then we're able to transform the data. So those are the big 4 that you can do with it. So first thing we're going to do is that we've created our project. So under the subheading facet data, we're going to click on the publisher publisher column. So we'll look at publisher right here. And we click on that little diamond. And we're going to look at select facet here. And then we're going to go to text facet. So what happens is on the left-hand side, we have a list of all the particular publishers listed in here. It looks like 1660 roughly. Excuse me, listed in here. So we can look at the counts on the left-hand side. We can observe the record count for all these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to go to Titan. So here's Titan, and we have, you'll notice a little number slide, 3627. So we have 3,627 records that are using Titan with the T. Well, notice here, the same thing, Titan, but only 5. So what does that tell you? Well, it tells you something very straightforward. If you were to click on this, you'll notice that has Titan, but what it's missing, what it has, is an empty space. So if I were to back click on that and eliminate the empty space, you'll notice that the Titan 5 will disappear and be incorporated into just Titan. And there it is. So I've already begun to consolidate my data here. And you'll notice all these different ways that one can do that particular thing. So if we were to look at edit, that would tell you what that is right there. And you can go through and you can take a look. So these are all distributors. So you can go in and you can take, okay, how am I going to do this? Am I going to do it as a distributor? Maybe I want to keep it as Titan. Maybe I want to keep it as Titan Book or Titan Books, that sort of thing. So you have to make a number of these decisions. Just looking at this particular publisher, there's quite a bit of variance in here. So the more you know your data, the more you're familiar with it, the better off that you can make cleaning decisions. So here, is data Titan the same as Titan Books in association with 2000? I have no idea. So I may have to do some further research to make sure that when I'm combining them, that I'm doing so in a correct manner. That if I decide to do it, it'll be in a correct manner. Now, let's say we started cleaning up some of these. So let's say I'm going to do this one right here. So if you click on that, by the way, it'll show you the 2 records for Titan Book. And you can take a look at this. That'll give you an idea. What I want to do is I want to edit these and go Titan Books. And I'm going to do Titan Books with a capital. And there we go. So I can start combining all these together. So that's one way that you can look at the data and then make a decision with that. Now, let's say, for example, I made a mistake here. I didn't want to do that. Well, not a problem. So you can go up to undo and redo, and I can go back. Oh, I don't do that. And that will clean it. See if I do that properly. Yeah. So you're able to move around. Let me do this. Oh, okay, that's nuts. All right. Huh. Let's see. Anyway, so you can do that type of going back and forth and without being committed to a decision that you make that maybe turn out to be an error. So that's something that you can do there. Let's see, can do reset. There we go. So we'll go back to reset and we can throw all that out. And you go there listed there. Okay, so that is a good way that you can work with that. In fact, you can play around with this and don't have to worry about screwing things up until you get to the top right-hand corner here where it says export. So at this point, you can export through a different formats and that. So you can save your work. So if you need to do a lot of work on, you can't do it all at once. You can save your particular data set in various ways. So Excel or Excel later, ODF, that sort of thing. And you can use that, comma separated value. Whoops, all right. So that's what you can do with that. So there's a lot of versatility here in terms of working with the data. All right. Okay. All right. So our next step here is we're going to do some filtering data. So I'm going to close this out right here. And what we're going to do is I'm going to go to publisher column right here. And we're going to look at publisher and text file, text filter, I should say. So you have a lot of these different options here. If you want to do reconcile data, there's a lot of things here. You see a lot of different things, decisions. So we're not going to do reconcile, but I just want to show you that there's a lot of versatility here. We're going to go to text filter right here. So on the left-hand side, you could type in Titan. Whoops, make sure you spell it correctly. There you go. And it'll pull up all the records that have Titan in there. So you notice all the different varieties of Titan. If you want to do case sensitive, I click on that and I get nothing. So that tells me that if I were to do a case sensitive title search, there you go, 4684, that tells me at least that all the Titans listed here are capitalized, so I don't have to worry about that. So it's one quick way to check. You can also do regular expressions in here, and that gets very complicated. You do have to bring a knowledge of regular expressions to OpenRefine, and we're not going to do that today. I will show you the GREL, which are the built-in regular expressions within OpenRefine. But yes, you can definitely go off the deep end using regular expressions. So I wanted to show that to you. Right, so that's one way. If we were to look at, let's say this one here, you can scroll over a particular cell and click edit. And what it'll do is it'll pop up this, so I can change this, edit it a little bit. I can apply it just to the cell, or I can apply it to all the ones that had the brackets with it. So it's another quick way that one can do it. You'll notice too that we're looking at text as a data set. That's going to be the most common, but you could also select as a number, as a Boolean, or date. But seriously, why would you? That's it. So I'm just going to apply that to there. And what happens up here, edit single cell on row 9, column publisher. Awesome. So if I said, you know what, I changed my mind, I want to apply Titan to all of them. 3,633 for all the ones that had that. So that is quite interesting that one can do that. And as a quick way of cleaning up your data. All right, so if we go to undo, it has mass edit. We could do that. And we don't want to do that. So there you go. Okay, so that is a quick way that one can filter all of your data as well. All right, so our next one is we're going to do some clustering data. I'm going to clear this out here. All right, we're back to our original data set. All right, so we want to do publisher, and we want to go to edit cells, and we want to cluster and edit. So we scroll down here, and now things get real, my friends. This is very interesting. So what it will do is it gives you a basic clustering mechanism here. It's using a number of different algorithms. So here's the method here. The two big ones are key collision and nearest neighbor. So that's how it's collecting it. I'm not going to bother explaining it to you. You can also look at the keying function, and there's a number of different ways that you can do a keying function. So fingerprint, n-gram fingerprint, all these different ones, very complicated. If you want to know more, you can click on Find Out More, and this will take you to this page here, and it will explain the different clustering methods that are used. So we're going to be using the most common ones, key collision, and there's the different ones here. Key collisions are very fast and can process millions of cells in seconds. So that's what we'll be using. So again, it takes you to the website, and you can take a deep dive into how it's being used. So what we have here on this page here, you'll notice is it started to collect a number of these under some interesting headings. So Titan here, Titan distributor, decided to pull all this together. If we scroll down a little ways, we have DC Comics, okay, and then Wildstorm and Private Eye, and that these sorts of things. So look at here's Titan Books, and it went through the entire website and collected the entire data set and collected them in different ways and that. So so what you can do at this point is you can start merging. So you can click on this one here, and if you're confident that these are the same, you can type in Titan Books like that. So you can merge selected and recluster. So now Titan distributors doesn't seem to be, oh, here we go. There's another one here. So we can select that one, and we can select Titan Books, and we can merge, and we can keep going until we start collecting stuff and it has a consistency right across the board. So here's another one here. So you scroll through and you can do that sort of thing. And that's that. So that is clustering data. So you can bring a lot of these similar ones together very quickly, and they show you how they're related in that sense. All right. Next and last one is transforming data in this particular data set. So there's two ways you can transform data. You can use the preset transformations that are within OpenRefine, or you can also use the GREL, the general refine expression language. That is in OpenRefine. So you have these two big particular options: the pull down option, and then the one where you're playing with syntax. All right, so let's do the preset transformations first. So if we were to go to publisher, we can go to edit cells, and we're going to do common transformations. So if we do that, what are the common transformations? Well, leading and trailing white space, right? That's a common thing. Maybe a lot of things are in uppercase or lowercase, that sort of thing. You can transform to a number if you want to, or to text, that sort of thing. So we're going to trim leading and trailing space right here. Very simple one. And you'll notice at the top here, it gives you text transformation on this, and it gives you value.trim. So that is a GREL expression, if you will. that it's saying that's what it's doing, and it changed all those particular records. So if we want to do something different here, what we could do, that's a quick way of using the pull down menus to do some basic cleaning. If you want to do something a little bit more sophisticated, let's do this. We can go and look at author persons. We're going to edit cells, and we're going to do transform. And if I click on transform, you get this box that pops up, and here's where we can use the language. We can go into greater detail. And I really love this page because what we can do here is we can change this to, we can type in a particular formula. So there's no syntax error, so to speak. I should mention on the handout, you have, I gave on bottom half of page 2 and onto page 3, some of the more common syntax forms that you can use in order to work with your data. And you can use this particular box to do that. So in this case, we're going to replace a period. Do you remember we had periods here? We had periods here. We don't want them. We want to have no periods. So that's a very simple way we can change. We can do that. We're going to do this. I'm going to put in parentheses, and it immediately gives me a parsing error because I have not completed the syntax. So what I need to do here is I'm going to put in single quotations. I'm going to put in a period and another quotation. Then I'm going to put in, so that closes it. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm telling it to, okay, go look for everything that has a period in this column. And once you found that, I want you to put in nothing. So I'm going to put in another single quote, no space, single quote, and then the brackets. And now it's telling me, oh, you have a complete good syntax. There's no error there. And what it lists here under preview is I go down, and all of a sudden all my periods are gone. How delightful. So that is a quick way that one could use that. You know, you can do keep original, set to blank, store error, that sort of thing. But that is a very quick way that you can do that. You can clean that column, and there it is. So you see there's a lot of process, and up here it gives you grel value dot replace, and it tells you what it is that you're doing. And if you forgot, if you do a few more steps and you realize, how did I do that again? It's listed here, and you can go in and take a look. So it's wonderful. It keeps track of what you're doing as you work through your project. Okay. All right. So that is that for that particular database here. So let us move on to the Powerhouse Museum one. So here I have it. I can, I should mention here, I can export again, all through all these different ones, Google Sheets, to whatever you want, Excel. So that's good. So let's say we're finished with that, and I'll save it in that. But let's say I want to look at something else here. So if I go to the top right-hand corner, it says open. I can click on open, and a new browser will pop up. And I should mention that all the work that you're doing is on your computer. It's not out there on the web. It's right on your computer. And this is the URL, if you will, the 127 number. So you can work locally on your computer with this. All right. So next step I'm going to do is I'm going to do browse, and I'm going to go to Powerhouse data set, and I'm going to load that up. And here it is. And you'll notice it's quite different from what we've got the previous one. You'll notice under here, under character encoding is very basic, so using the UTF-8, nothing much more basic than that. So that's a different encoding method, but it's fine. And we'll look at it and say, okay, it looks good. And we're going to create our project here. And voila. So we got a lot of spacing, and this is only 25, only 10, so I'm going to do 25. Not that you'll notice it, but there you go. All right, so your next step is that we're going to look at this object file, object title, I should mention. Excuse me. We're going to look at facet, and we're going to look at numerical facet. So I'm looking at the object title, and I'm looking at numeric facet, and you'll notice nothing has changed. Okay. So I just wanted to show you that, the numerical facet thing. But if we were to go to record ID, do facet, and we do numerical facet. Oh, pardon me. That's not what we want to do. If we go to record ID, we look at edit cells. Pick the wrong one here. Common transformations. And we want to convert these to numbers, for example. So right here, what happens is two interesting things happen. It changes to green, and the column shift, the number shifted to the right. So with text, it'll be in Excel and all these particular spreadsheets and that it will have text that'll shift to the right. It'll be right justified with left justified with if something's it's a numerical value, it becomes a right justified. So if you take a look at these, if you click on edit, you'll have this, and it'll tell you the data type is number, and it'll be listed here. So it's important to know if you're working with numbers as numbers, because I can do number things. I can add all these numbers if I want to. Now, it's a record ID, so that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do that. So I'm better off making sure that these are text. And there you go, back to text. So it's something to keep in mind as well, that you can do a lot more with strict numbers as numbers, but there you go. All right. Now, if you wanted to use the all, you can do all here, and you can select edit rows, and then remove all matching rows. So remove matching rows, and oh no, we've lost our data set here. So you don't have to panic. You can always go to the undo. Right, there we go. And that sort of thing. So you want to be careful when you're using the all column, if your particular data set has that, because it could be there aren't really any shortcuts to using OpenRefine here. You have to be thoughtful in each step that you go through. All right, so what we want to do is one more thing. We want to look at record ID, and we want to look at facet and customize facets. Customize facets right here. And you'll notice all the different ways that one could work with this particular one. So if you're looking at facet by blank, for example, let's look at that. Null or empty string. There you go. You can take a look and see that particular function. So, all right. So that is facet by blank. Let's see, and I should mention here, record ID sort numbers. Let me do one more thing here. Record ID sort. And if you go to the sort, it asks you, how do you want to sort this? Do you want to do text? Is it case sensitive? Do you want to do numbers? That sort of thing. So if I clicked on numbers, there it is. It will sort by that particular way. Let me go back here. All right. So there's different ways that you can do that. I should mention if we go to export, let's see if we were to export to, is it Excel? Oh yeah, comma separated value. Is that it? No, that is not it. All right, never mind. So at that point, I can use it and take a look at this here. Let's see, export custom tabular. Okay, so yeah, there's one more thing here. When you're exporting, you can go to custom tabular right here. And this will bring up this page. And what you can do is that you can save, you have all these ways you can save the particular file. You can also move these around. So if you wanted to deselect all and say, you know what, I just want to do the record, ID, object, and registration number, you can. And if you say, you know what, I want the registration number to be first, I can move that to the first. So you can play with this data as you export it as well, the columns as you export it. So that's the thing I wanted to make sure that all of you get a load at. So you can very much select the provenance here, and then categories and that sort of thing. So yeah, a lot of different ways that you can manipulate your data even as you're exporting it. Okay, so that's that. Let us move on to our final data set, I should say. We're going to do open. Back here, I'm going to browse, and we want to look at the Dijon prices worldwide. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to load the data. Ooh, this one looks kind of nasty. Look at all this, the commodity, different types of commodity, the measures, different types of measures. You have the years are separated out in each column. So how do I work with this, right? It's going to be kind of annoying. You'll notice down here, it's US ASCII is the character coding. So now the third type of encoding. All right, so I'm going to do create project. And we're back to familiar territory with our little diamonds here. So we need to organize this a little bit better. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to column 1568. And we're going to look at transpose. And we're going to transpose cells across columns into rows. So I click on that, and here's the page that I get. So what's it asking me? It's asking me from 1568 here to the last column. So it's saying select all these columns that are put here. So we're going to keep that there. And what do I want to do with them? Do I want to have two new columns, this sort of thing? No, I want to put them under one column, and I want to call that column year. And I want to prepend the original column's name to each cell, followed by the colon. And you'll see why in a minute. I want to ignore blank cells, thank you. And I want to fill down into the other column. So I click all that. And I'm going to click last column just to be sure. And now, once I'm clear on all this, I transpose. And there you go. So now we're just starting to clean up this data here. We've got commodity measure, we have year, but look, are those the prices there listed here? Oh dear. But we were very smart. We put in colon right after the date. So we're in good shape. So we're going to edit this column. We're going to split into several columns. So edit column and then split into several columns, which basically means more than one. And I click on that. Now it'll say, how do you split the column by separator? In this case, it's saying by comma, like, oh no, we have colon. So we want to change that to colon. And, after splitting guest cell type, remove this column type thing, and then we go from there. So let's see what happens. Oh, there we go. So now we have the year, and now we have the prices. So we can go up here at this point, and we can say, you know what, we have to change the column name, rename this column to just year. Also, it's giving me a numeric value, and I don't think I want to have that. So I'm going to go to common transformations and then just convert that to text. And there we go. We have text. Here we do have numbers. So at this point, these are actual numbers, the prices and all that. So we want to make, think, do we want to have them as text or do we want to have them as numerical? So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to edit this column and we'll call it price. There we go. And we can leave it at that. All right, now you can, one last thing, you can sort, notice 1568, it's all sort of listed in here in order, but you can go in here, you can go to sort, you can sort by the text, numbers, dates, that sort of thing. You can also move these around if you feel like it. So we'll go earliest first or latest first. So I'm going to do that. And there you go. They're all in order by year. So that is a quick demonstration of OpenRefine. And I'm now happy to take questions if anyone has any questions. Okay, I should mention on the handout here, you have the common expressions that are listed through Google Refine Expression Language. So it's fun just to play around with some of these more common ones. On page 3, I list a whole bunch of resources that you can use to get started. Each one of them is quite involved in terms of working through, but definitely if you want to get into the deep end of this particular software, then this is the way to go, to be sure. So, all right. If there are not any questions, I will let you go. I want to thank you for coming out. And once the recording is available, I'll send it out to everyone. Okay. All right. Oh, we have someone question there. You're welcome. Thank you very much, everyone. And have a great day. Thanks. Mhm.